Ladies and gentlemen, so we were joking around on the live stream the other day about who is going to be coming in February, and I bet my bottom dollar that it was going to be some sort of X-Men themed event, because especially around, March, if you think about how this year is going to run in terms of the Marvel movies, March we got Captain Marvel, we're probably going to have a movie version of her and another character, then we're probably going to have like 2 months of Avengers Endgame stuff, then probably like another Fantastic Four, and then a Spider-Man month as well, so there's so much stuff coming in the first half of this year. It's absolutely nuts, especially with Act 6 piled on top of it. But it was data mined yesterday by Otrix that Mr. Sinister was going to be coming into the game. And now Marvel Contest of Champions have confirmed on Twitter that it is time to wreak some havoc. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if this is going to be an exclusive, but very close to it, Otrix has just sent me this wonderful promotional picture that was just added to the game files today, pretty much confirming that both Havok and Mister Sinister are going to be coming next month in Marvel Contest of Champions. Now, I must admit, in terms of my X-Men characters, I don't know a whole lot about both of these characters and kind of their backstories and lore. Definitely, I imagine there are plenty of great kind of comics explained videos out there on YouTube if you want to dive deep into kind of the backstory and details of these. But what I do know is that Mister Sinister is a bad man. He's a bad man and he's a villain of the X-Men, and he seems to do some pretty cool stuff, may have some very interesting powers and abilities, which we're going to go over, and also Havok seems really, really badass. Havok could be a really awesome character if done right, and I kind of have hope that either Havok or Human Torch is just kind of a balls to the walls kind of incinerate, potentially plasma character. Maybe this one's going to be a little bit different in terms of his design, but both of them look very, very interesting, and hopefully being such kind of fan favorite characters, because I think, last month a lot of people were quite passionate about Thing, and Thing turned out really, really well, but the other champion, Diablo is just, absolute wank, lads, so I really hope they don't, miss on either one of these. But let's have a little bit of a look at what both of the characters, have in terms of their powers and abilities, so we can have a bit of a speculate as to what we might see, and hopefully in the next few days as well, Otrix is going to get the data mined abilities for both of the brand new champions, so we can have a bit of a rough idea of, what to expect for them. So Mr. Sinister is a genetically altered human with superhuman physical and mental abilities, so the character is telepathic, able to manipulate the minds of others in various ways, and is capable of energy projection through telekinesis. Using genetic material from the mutant courier, Mr. Sinister gained complete control of his body at the cellular level, allowing him to shapeshift, regenerate, be virtually immune to injuries, and have a prolonged lifespan. Mr. Sinister has exhibited the ability to teleport, though Beast believes this is accomplished through his Tesseract headquarters. So what do we have at base? We got shapeshifting, regeneration, virtually immune to injuries, prolonged lifespan. I think they could do some very cool stuff with this character's ability to maybe change different forms and have massive regeneration as well. If they also go down the route of telekinesis, he could be a champion that just kind of deals energy damage, doesn't make contact with the opponent, which could make him very, very useful for certain matchups like Electro, Korg, and I would assume the fact that he's a genetically altered human, I don't know if this is going to kind of make him under the mutant class. I would assume so, but I remember people saying kind of on various forms of social media that he's not kind of quite a mutant and that he might be something a little bit different. So yeah, I'm not too sure if they could maybe a reach go down the mystic one, but just from reading kind of these powers and abilities, it seems like mutant class would be very kind of true to what Mr. Sinister does, but I'm not really, overly sure there. But Mr. Sinister is also a scientific genius. He's got expertise in biology, genetics, cloning, physics, and engineering. So the character is a master manipulator and a planner with decades of genetic research at his command. So he goes to great lengths to preserve his power and personality through elaborate technological means, such as conditioning certain children to be his hosts, which sounds really, really creepy. So definitely a bad man, a very, very bad man indeed. So that's in the event of his future death, but I'm not too sure that's really going to be super relevant there. However, Sebastian Shaw noted that the later discovery of clone technology would make such a plan relatively pointless, reflecting that Sinister tends to continue to pursue old plans even when future technology offers more viable alternatives. So yeah, I don't know, he's got some interesting stuff that he might be able to do. Mr. Sinister is looking very cool, and again, just have a bit of a look at the character. The model looks quite badass, man. Very, very badass looking there. But Havok, I must admit, out of reading both of the abilities, he's the one that I maybe am a little bit more excited for. So Havok is just straight up a mutant, and he possesses, Havok, to the best of my knowledge, is the brother of Cyclops, so he possesses the ability to absorb ambient cosmic energy, process it, and emanate it from his body as waves of energy that heat the air in the path, turning it into plasma in the form of blast or discharge, with a telltale concentric circle pattern. So there's one champion at the moment. Iron Man Infinity War does have a plasma mechanic, so they kind of have that form of damage in the game, so that might be something that we are going to see heavily on this champion. And plasma at the moment, I think, is some sort of passive effect, and I don't know if they're going to do it in a similar way. I wouldn't imagine they're going to do it in a similar way to Iron Man Infinity War, because on Iron Man Infinity War you need to get the shock and you need to get the incinerate and combine them both to make the plasma. So maybe Havok is just going to be a character that is straight up dealing, you know, a ton of plasma damage there, but could be quite curious there. So these waves will emanate from his body in all directions unless he purposefully tries to channel them in a single direction, usually along the length of his arms, so this results in control over an extremely powerful sort of destructive force. He is immune to the adverse effects of most forms of radiation and heat, so hopefully he's going to be incinerate immune as well, fingers crossed. But you know, Ghost Rider, Dormammu, there are a lot of hotheads in the game, a lot of people actually made of fire that are not immune to incinerate. So yeah, we're going to have our expectations managed there, but at the same time, it's a new champion. You know, they want to make the money, man, and they're definitely going to be a little bit down after those Diablo sales, so hopefully he is going to be incinerate immune there. Also, in the past, he was not able to entirely control this ability, which made him a danger to those around him unless he wore a special containment suit equipped with special sensors for measuring and controlling his power output. So Havok is immune to his own powers, and to those of his brother Scott, he is resistant but not immune to Vulcan's powers. So I don't really know who Vulcan is. Again, I'm a bit of a noob there, but I'm interested to see if he's gonna like be immune to like plasma, maybe from Iron Man Infinity War as well. I imagine actually just being immune to incinerate, he's going to be immune to that on his own, but if he's going to have kind of any interactions versus himself there. So next up, we've got, despite past accounts, the energy that Havok releases is not truly a concussive force, because I learned when doing like the Cyclops evaluation video that his blast is a concussive force and not one of heat. So, you know, there's no chance of Cyclops getting incinerate, but, you know, Havok might get some plasma or incinerate there. So when Havok strikes an object with hot plasma, the sudden temperature jump often causes objects to shatter or disintegrate, so it is true heat there. Should Havok direct his energy at the lowest level, he can project it towards a human being, and his target will suffer a severe headache but will not burn up. He can absorb cosmic energy from his environment, such as starlight, X-rays, and gamma radiation, and store them in his cells, metabolizing the energy to generate plasma wave discharges that superheat and disintegrate objects. His absorption is normally passive, but he has shown that he can actively drain and absorb energy as well. Havok's body is constantly absorbing cosmic radiation. When his body reaches its capacity, excess energy is then immediately re-emitted into negligible quantities. The circle on his chest is an indicator of how much energy he has. Upon the expenditure of all of his energy available, it takes Havok around 17 hours to recharge to peak level. The concentration involved in releasing his energy in focus beams is exhausting for Havok, especially if he does it over an extended period. So just having a bit of a look at Havok there, maybe we're going to kind of have that indicator on his chest, and this might be something that in terms of playing the character, can like ramp up over like fight duration or multiple fights. So I think there's a bit of an interesting way that they could kind of work that mechanic, the cosmic radiation, in terms of absorbing it, maybe from like certain abilities or certain surroundings or certain matchups, and converting that into damage. So yeah, I just see like so much potential when it comes to making some very like quirky and interesting design with Havok. So yeah, really excited for that. And then what else do we have? So Havok has demonstrated immunity to his brother's Cyclops optic beam. There we go. Cyclops is immune to Havok's power, so maybe that's going to be something, you know, maybe Cyclops is going to get a buff via, maybe he's going to be insane for the matchup. I don't really know what's going to go on there. Or maybe Havok is going to be a very annoying defender. That's also a bit of potential with the potential cosmic radiation. So he's got normal human strength, blah blah. He's pretty much just a well-rounded lad aside from that. So yeah, overall, I'm really looking forward to next month, man. Both of the new characters seem incredibly intriguing, and I think there's a lot they can do in terms of their design. I'm very excited for both of the champions on their own, but also more importantly, I think there are a lot of very mediocre X-Men, and there could be very important synergies between the two of these champions that make certain characters like Cyclops much more effective. Maybe Phoenix as well, so I'm very curious to see. But anyway, I think in terms also of this unreleased champion chart, Havok and Mister Sinister, I believe, are going to come just north of Cyclops. I would imagine Havok is going to be here, and Mister Sinister is just going to be above. So that still leaves quite a bit of room around, I would assume, kind of Magic, Magneto area right down the bottom for a couple more characters as well. So we're going to have to see what other X-Men we might potentially be getting in the later half of this year. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of Havok and Mister Sinister? Let me know in the comments section below. What are your predictions for some of the champions and abilities they're going to have and classes they're going to be in? But aside from that, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this speculation video today. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.